Hey everyone, welcome back to the Legacy Premier League. I'm Brian Brown Doan, and I'm here with Caleb Dirtleword, as nobody calls him, but Caleb Dirtleword, a legendary streamer and competitor as well. I guess we're covering Jarvis U versus Julian, classic battle of Grixis versus Elves. What are your thoughts on that?
On Grixis versus Elves?
Yeah.
Well, it's Grixis Delver specifically, right? I think it's a very skill-based matchup. I haven't played a lot of Grixis Delver versus Elves, but I've played a lot of Delver versus Elves in general, and I've played a decent amount of Elves versus Delver. And it's I don't know. That's a matchup where I think the more comfortable and familiar you are with it, the more it's going to seem like a good matchup for whichever deck that you play. So if you talk to like an Elves master, they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, you can beat Delver every time, whatever." And then you talk to like a Grixis Delver matchup, and they're like, "Yeah, crush Elves." Anyway, that's my interpretation. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean that's basically I'm in the same boat. It's just whoever I talk to, they think they're favored from whichever side. And I kind of lean towards, I think Delver maybe is slightly favored if I had to say objectively, but I do think it's pretty close.
Sometimes weird Delver sideboard cards come into question. They're like little one-of things. Like someone will have like a one-of Marsh Casualties or something like that that just wrecks post-board.
Yeah, I really like the one. I can't remember the card name, but you choose a color and then deal damage to creatures of that color. So that's a really good one for blowing up decks like Elves or Death and Taxes. All right, so let's see. It looks like I think Jarvis has a pretty phenomenal hand here.
It's fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Double Delver, Force Will, Thoughtseize. What more could you want?
Also has the Wasteland for the Guy's Cradle. Just has it all. As for Julian's hand, I'm not really as familiar with Elves, but it looks like a solid but maybe not exceptional hand. Oh
yeah, no, his hand's solid. He I think Julian is one of the people that like very rarely mulligans with Elves. He like doesn't, every time you mulligan you get like one less creature to go off with your Glimpse of Nature and so forth. So I think he keeps a pretty wide range, if I remember correctly.
I like that philosophy. Never mulligan.
just never do it ever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just never do it. You're down a card. So what do you think from Jarvis's side in terms of what do you use your Force of Will on? Do you just save it for something like Glimpse of Nature, or do you counter a creature?
It depends on when Julian plays the Glimpse of Nature. A lot of people will let a turn 2 Glimpse resolve, which can sometimes end very poorly, but a lot of the times it just draws a couple of cards, like a Thoughtcast. You don't want to Force Will a Thoughtcast, right?
Right.
I mean, the natural order would be the ideal thing, or maybe a Green Sun Zenith. Sometimes I'll Force a Will a Visionary or a Symbiote if it looks like those cards are going to matter, if they're going to like draw too many cards.
Looks like Jarvis is letting the early creatures resolve at the very least.
Oh yeah, when you're playing Elves and your opponent Force of Wills your Heritage Druid, you're just like fist pumping. It's the one green him to Turok.
Yeah, when your opponent does anything with Heritage Druid, you're fist pumping, I feel. Do you think so? I guess Jarvis has an option here of playing a second Delver, playing a Thoughtseize, or trying to brainstorm into another black source to then also cast a Thoughtseize.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like just playing the Thoughtseize and being able to save the Delver to pitch to Force if he needs it.
I like it too. I think a Brainstorm line would be real greedy, real risky, like high reward, high failure, you know?
Yeah.
And just playing the Thoughtseize here is so good already. Why risk it? Meanwhile, saving the second Delver in hand gives you like more fodder to potentially pitch to Force of Will. Like you already have some pressure going. Maybe you don't need it.
Yeah, and he might be able to play it on a future turn as well and get in like an extra 6 points in a situation where that's relevant.
Absolutely.
Interesting that he took Glimpse of Nature. I guess he's trying to make Force of Will the classic 2 for 2.
Yep.
Force the natural order and get the creature as well.
It's hard to know when Glimpse of Nature is bait too.
Yeah. See, Jarvis is already just hovering over the Force of Will.
It's just right on it. This is what this Force of Will's for.
He just could not force fast enough.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Yep. It's not a bad draw. Just clear out one of the creatures.
Yeah, no, it seems fine. It means that another Cradle would be pretty far away from getting him back up to natural order mana.
Yep. I imagine next turn Jarvis is probably gonna brainstorm away the Thoughtseize, since it's unlikely for it to hit. Since Julian can basically play out most of his hand most turns if he wants to.
What do you think Julian needs to draw to get back into this game?
I imagine something like a Visionary into something else, like Visionary into Symbiote, get a little card advantage, and then hit a natural order the turn before you're going to die or something. I'm not sure exactly what it looks like.
I can see that. He doesn't need very many creatures in play for Craterhoof to be lethal, with Jarvis being at 13.
So at this point, now that he's drawn natural order, I think he basically just Gaia's Cradle straight up would be enough.
Yeah.
He can't just draw. Let's see. He can cast it this turn, but he gets dazed. Oh no, he actually can't because the Wasteland could take out the Dryad Arbor. I was thinking he could untap the Dryad Arbor to cast natural order, but Wasteland would interrupt that.
I think that's what Julian was thinking through at the start of his turn before he declared attackers. Korean Ranger, kind of good against the Wasteland, though. Once you save the Dryad Arbor, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, it might not seem clear as to why you would fetch Dryad Arbor in the face of Wasteland, but yeah, Korean Ranger's pretty good at protecting that.
And the other Dryad Arbor is in the graveyard, so we can't fetch up any future ones. Oh, is that a Force of Will?
Looks like a Force of Will, but also the Volcanic for Lightning Bolt.
And that's going to let him take out the Dryad Arbor?
Yep. That's pretty devastating.
Just picking him apart.
Jarvis, just no mercy.
Like meat off the bone, just getting that last nibble.
It's like meat's back on the menu for Jarvis.
Oh, God.
Now I don't think that Julian has any outs. I could be wrong, but...
Yeah, Cradle could technically let him cast Natural Order, but it just gets dazed. You're right.
Also, I think Jarvis still had the Force of Will. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm glad that Gurmag Angler got to join the fray before the game was over, even though he's not relevant.
He's the cheering section.
Yeah.
The zombie fish cheering section. You don't daze this, right? Jarvis does.
I'm not sure what could he even get there that could... Let's see. There might be something...
Just some obscure tag. What about... Isn't there a 1-green 1/2 that has reach and gets +2/+0 when it's blocking or something? I don't even remember its name. I don't remember its name, but I'm pretty sure that's a card.
Yeah, I would imagine that exists somewhere. Yeah. Isn't there? There's also the very classic one. Isn't there just like a first striker or something? Just a 1/2 first striker. Can't remember. Not that would do anything on that board, but
right.
You know, just for style points before you lose. All right, I wonder who gets better after sideboard. Julian gets Choke, which is huge, but just one copy. Gets Abrupt Decay, which is nice for slowing down a Delver-related clock.
Yeah.
But Jarvis gets Liliana the Last Hope, which is pretty
pretty really good. Pretty super duper good. I actually am not as big on choke against Delver as a lot of people are, because they're only like operating on 1 or 2 lanes anyway, and by the time you get choked down, you're probably getting beaten down by like a Delver or something. So I think it's like I think it can help you out when the game's like really close or when you're ahead, but I think it's like not great when you're behind. And I usually like my cards to be good when I'm behind, but that might just be me.
You know, that makes sense to me. I kind of feel the same way. Like, I don't like cards like Back to Basics against Delver, for example, for exactly the same reason. And also, a lot of times they can just pick lands back up with days and stuff and just get around it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I kind of feel exactly the same about those kinds of cards, generally speaking. Blood Moon, I think, is a little bit different because it really locks them out.
Yeah. So Julian, it looks like he's been just like cutting his Green Sun Zeniths and leaving in natural orders. I've heard some people say that they like board out natural orders against like any deck with Force of Will, which I, for the record, strongly disagree with. But I do shave them sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I think natural order is just such a powerful card. You get 2 for 1 when you cast it and it gets forced, but a lot of times, like, the creature you're losing is not really that relevant anyway, and when it does resolve, you kind of just win the game most of the time. So I'm kind of with you on that one. I think it's a card that should stay in most of the time.
I think it can help you win through like a lot of disruption and some very large Gourmet Ganglers or what have you. It looks like Jarvis is pulling out his Gourmet Ganglers, though, which makes sense. They don't match up very well against Wirewood Symbiote.
Yep, I completely agree with that. I think Gourmet Gangler is a clock, but having a clock on the ground is a little awkward, and like you said, yeah, they can just block and pick up creatures.
It's going to be interesting to see if Julian keeps this. I am guessing that he is going to, but I don't know.
Yeah, if your theory is correct, then he'll probably keep this hand. It looks on the edge of keepable, I think. Like, yep, he did keep it. It basically has potential, but nothing strong.
Well, no creatures.
Yeah.
You don't have any creatures in your Glimpse of Nature elf deck.
Oh, it's not like he has the Glimpse in hand already. It's not a big deal. Yeah, I'm interested to see how it plays out. I think if he does run off a couple of creatures in a row, he could have a pretty strong hand. But if not, like that, Jarvis's hand is actually quite good, and I can see him getting picked apart pretty quickly.
Yeah, that Liliana comes down.
Yeah, Jarvis has some soft counters, Liliana, 2 removal spells, Ponder, and the best turn 1 threat, Delver. So not bad for the Jarvis team.
Reveals Ponder.
I wonder if it would have made more sense to fetch first and Ponder. That way you have the Lightning Bolt mana up, but I don't know if that really matters or not. I imagine Jarvis is going to keep the land that's going to let him cast Liliana the Lost Hope.
Looks like you've got a solid imagination. Probably just casting the other Ponder. Like you don't need to, but if you're going to be tapping out for the next several turns, that's also fine. I think either way
plus
is fine.
he has another Ponder on top of his deck, so he can just basically Ponder as draw 1 card and then still have a Ponder later.
I wonder if we're going to see a Liliana downtick to get back Delver this game. Or a Liliana Ultimate. Oh my.
I'm hoping for the Liliana Ultimate. That's near and dear to my heart.
Are you, this is a little off topic, but are you excited for Worlds?
Yes, I am.
Gonna retake the title?
Yeah, I mean that's easier said than done, but
no pressure.
It would be nice. Yeah, I imagine. I'm excited to play in the tournament. I'm less excited about the formats of Dominaria Limited and Standard, but it's not that big.
I think I'm like the only spectator in the world that's excited to watch more Dominaria Limited.
I like Dominaria Limited. I enjoy playing the format. It just seems like a strange choice, but I guess with M19 being the other limited format, maybe Dominaria is
it makes sense not to make people draft Corset. I don't know.
I did like that with the Pro Tour being tri-constructed formats and then Worlds not involving M19 Limited. I actually just have not played a single match of M19 Limited, which I love playing Limited, but it is nice to know that I don't have to like split my attention so many different ways.
Mm-hmm. Glimpse of Nature with just a single elf in hand.
Yeah, this could be a big turn for Julian if he rattles off a bunch of creatures in a row, or it could be Glimpse of Nature could be one green draw a card.
Oh.
It's off to a good start. Imagine Jarvis is going to go for... Oh, maybe not. Looks like he's opting for the Daze.
A lot of people will Daze the Glimpse, because then that's one less mana that you have to use on creatures and the like. Jarvis had just seen his hand with Thoughtseize, so he knew that he only had one creature, so it made sense not to use it.
Wonder if... I feel like Jarvis should consider killing... Well... Yeah. I like that play. Just shut off the ability to cast more creatures and leave the X1s in play so that your Liliana the Lost Hope has something to pick off.
Yeah, the Daze made Julian tap the Gaia's Cradle while it only produced 1 mana, which was really good. And then you're right, the Nettle Sentinel plus Birchlore Rangers was just going to let him cast as many 1-drops as he drew into. It was really well played by Jarvis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like how Jarvis piloted that.
Oh my. Is that a Progenitus?
Looks like a Progenitus to me.
Kind of looks like a Progenitus.
Jarvis does have the Diabolic Edict, though, so this could be an interesting game. I mean, he could pick off Fyndhorn Elves with Liliana if he draws like a Bolt or something.
Craterhoof eat Liliana would be an interesting line.
Yeah, it's possible that's correct, too. So I guess Jarvis has 2 turns to find another removal spell. Has this turn and 1 more turn.
Oh, that's not a removal spell.
No, it is not.
I don't think if you Julian has another Dried Arbor in his deck, right?
I believe so, yeah.
I actually think I like holding on to that Wasteland because any fetch land could be another hindrance to Diabolic Edict.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. I think I like that as well. Julian's going to kill the Liliana, which gives Jarvis an extra turn, but protects better from Diabolic Edict, since now this Visionary is not going to just bite it.
Yeah, it's a much better Visionary this way.
Man, that game swung really fast.
Super fast.
That Glimpse of Nature, yeah.
I love watching Julian play Elves.
Yeah, I do enjoy watching people who are great with their deck pilot at it. It's fun.
Absolutely. Doesn't even cast the True Name Nemesis.
I I'm guessing Jarvis knows he's dead and is just hiding information.
Makes sense.
I imagine, well, maybe not. As I say, I was thinking that maybe Julian would not cast the Scavenging Ooze just since the Progenitus is already good enough, but
there's no real downside.
Yeah, it's just an information thing if that's valuable or not.
I don't think so. I think Jarvis knows that Elves leads in Ooze against Pile of Disruption deck.
All right, so Jarvis is going to brainstorm into 9 removal spells and a Black Lotus.
Oh, he missed. Dang, unlucky.
Yeah, that's just so unlucky. Anytime you should draw a brainstorm, you should just win the game. It's just how Magic works.
Looks like Julian's leaning towards Thoughtseize on the draw.
I'm not sure that I like True Name Nemesis in this matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, it is untouchable, but it's just so slow, and it's a lot of times you just don't have the luxury of being able to play it on turn 3. I think Young Pyromancer is a better threat, and it looks like Jarvis is boarding that way. Maybe on play or draw it's different, but I just like being able to put something into play early, and then
Plus Storm's just better than Spell Pierce most of the time, right?
Yeah.
When you're talking about things like Natural Order and Glimpse and Green Sun being like the main targets, they can't.
I guess there is Sylvan Library and Choke.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I've always heard debate about whether Thoughtseize is a card you bring in matchups like Delver. I've generally heard Elf players say that they don't like bringing it in, but I've never really known for sure what's correct or not.
It looks like Julian decided not to bring them in, but he was considering it for a second there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can hit a really key card, like your opponent's sitting on like a rough and tumble or something.
For sure, or even just nabbing one of Jarvis's Lilianas could be pretty clutch. Like,
there's just that risk of overboarding.
Yep.
Where you have a handful of disruption as the glimpse of
the classic deck. The classic Glimpse of Nature, Abrupt Decay, Thoughtseize hand.
Exactly. I think I like 2 Thoughtseize though. Very small chance of drawing multiples.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure that I like both Thoughtseizes and Decays, since I think they kind of accomplish roughly the same role. But I think in small numbers that they can pair together.
Gonna see some hands.
Somebody's gonna give someone some hands.
What even does that mean? What?
I don't even know. Don't even ask me that, please.
I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. I'm just going to be like, what did he mean by that? Turn 1 Delver on the play. Average.
Not bad. Not bad. Julian's hand's pretty good if he can peel a second land. I don't know what that is or why that's there, but
I think that's you giving someone some hands. I think that's what that is.
Like, trying to think, is that Gristlebrand? I was trying to mime out the art of some Magic card. Can't remember what it was.
You did a really good job. I could totally tell what it was.
Yeah, when's my invitation to your weekly charades night? Come on. So if you Thoughtseize as Jarvis here, what do you think you're taking? Or okay, Well, he brainstormed into 3 gassers, so.
Oh, yeah. No, that's nuts. If I had Thoughtseized, I think I would take the Abrupt Decay to protect the Delver. And then I would Ponder to set up the Delver. And then I would just hope that Julian didn't draw a second land. But this is sweet. You can just like bolt the Heritage Druid.
Yep. He might just play Grim Lavamancer. I'm not sure, but
the first time I ever activated Grim Lavamancer on Moto, I had it accidentally target itself. I clicked on the opponent's thing. Moto lagged. I thought that I hadn't selected it, so I clicked it again. Anyway,
that's a classic Magic Online story if I've ever heard it.
I didn't play Grim Lavamancer on Moto for years after that. I just refused.
You're like, no, why would anyone play this card? It just only kills itself. I like that Magic Online now asks you if you're trying to target something with its own ability.
Or have something sack itself. Yeah, no, that's good.
It's like, did you double click by accident? Or did the program lag? I think it's really interesting whether to play Lavamancer or the Bolt.
I think with Jarvis's hand, there's a chance that he just slams Liliana next turn, which does much the same thing that Lavamancer does.
Yep.
Which leans me in that direction, but
I actually think I would have offered a trade with Delver for the Heritage Druid, and then if the trade happens, I get to play the Lavamancer, and if the trade doesn't, then I'll bolt it.
That's solid. What do you think Liliana targets here if it does come down?
Yeah, I'm not sure, actually. I kind of lean towards the Birchlore.
I think it targets the Birchlore Rangers, too. That's what I think.
Yep.
Oh, man, he targeted. Oh, God, I'm so smart.
I lean towards wait till Jarvis picks a target. The Birchlore Ranger. Interesting that killing the Liliana was worth more than just even playing the choke in that spot.
Yeah, if you play the choke, the Liliana just eats the Quirion Ranger, and then you have nothing.
Yep.
How are you winning that game with nothing?
Yeah, you do begin with nothing and your opponent with a Liliana on 5, but I guess you can then decay at the following turn and then hope to draw something. But I mean, I also have the luxury of knowing that Jarvis is about to potentially Thoughtseize it away.
It would also Thoughtseize the Abrupt Decay, right?
That's true. That is true.
Oh no, because the choke prevents him from untapping the lands. It's not true. I'm a liar.
It's not true. I feel lied to.
Betrayed. That is not the best ponder ever.
No. All right, so Jarvis takes the Natural Order, which does threaten Progenitus, which would kill him. But now he's going to get choked.
Interesting. So he kept double land on top with the idea of, well, my opponent's going to play choke, and I still want to be able to cast some things. So
I like it.
That makes sense.
Maybe only kept one land. I'm not sure.
There's another fetch underneath the Brainstorm.
Okay. In that case, I think I would have ordered both lands first and just used Grim Lavamancer twice and hope that Delver went all the way.
So I can find Dried Arbor.
Yeah, this is... He's going to need to draw something pretty good, though. Jarvis.
Jarvis or Julian?
Julian will. Yeah, because Jarvis is... He's dead in 2 turns and has basically a delayed double removal spell.
Mm-hmm. Glimpse can do a whole lot of work, though. He's
actually dead next turn if he doesn't draw something, because Jarvis can just hit him twice with Lavamancer. But that was huge.
I was kind of surprised he didn't fetch for Dried Arbor.
Yeah.
Because if Lavamancer hits Dried Arbor, then it's not hitting his face. I guess that doesn't matter, because you're going down to 5, and then a single Lavamancer plus Delver hit kills you anyway.
Yep, that makes sense. He also has a second Gaia's Cradle this turn as well, so if this Visionary plus Glimpse of Nature combos off, this could just be a lethal turn, potentially. I guess that's pretty unlikely with Grim Lavamancer being able to kill the Quirion Ranger, but...
Yeah, if you respond to Glimpse by killing the Quirion Ranger, I think it makes Julian tap the... Julian might fetch Dried Arbor in response and then tap Cradle for 2 mana. I don't know.
He might also be leaving up the Heath in case he draws Abrupt Decay.
The chain continues.
And continues to continue.
Well, that's not great.
No.
Oh, no.
Oh, he drew another creature for his Glimpse of Nature.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I can draw a card.
He does have the Birchler Ranger. You know, Progenitus has been hardcast before.
Oh, yeah. I've seen it.
In this case, though, I think he's just dead. But
yeah. Yeah. I saw a Progenitus rebbed once.
That's pretty good. Can't say I've ever seen that, but that's Legacy at its finest.
Right. I think it was mostly just so that he could say that he had rebbed a Progenitus.
Fair.
Because the humility was down at the time.
Well, I imagine this game is over. Unless there's something I'm missing here.
No, I think it's over. Yeah. Maybe Jarvis only has 2 red sources.
Seems I'll be surprised, but it's possible. Well, the Grim Lavamancer did his job against Elves, going upstairs twice, never killing any creatures. Pretty standard.
The Julian bounce on tap there is kind of cheeky. No, this Birchler Rangers can matter. You should probably kill it in response.
Yep. Yeah, give every Jarvis the chance to mess up, I guess.
Jarvis is having none of it though. Just nope, dead you. This is the point. This is the point where I dead you. You're dead.
Yeah, one thing I've learned in playing Legacy is that I never beat Jarvis when he's playing Grixis Delver. So.
Oh yeah, me neither.
Yeah, so seeing Jarvis be able to pull off the win here is not surprising to me, as I don't think I've ever seen him lose with that deck.
He actually beat me in the finals of last season of this with Grixis Delver. So
yep.
I think he beat everybody with that deck, the whole tournament.
I'm pretty sure he just ran the tables with Grixis Delver, just beating everybody. people are like, man, maybe this deck should get banned. I don't know.
He was beating the lands players, beating the Deathrite Shaman players.
Yeah.
Did he play it in the first round?
No, he played lands. He played lands.
Oh, he was on red green lands. Yeah, that's I mean, then he had to switch over to the real deck in the losers bracket. I see how it is.
Yeah, he couldn't just go out that easy. So, all right. Well, I guess that's the end for Julian and the Elves. I guess Bonde is still in the tournament with Elves, but other than that, might be the end of green decks in this Premier League. And I guess the next match we have up is I'm playing against Noah Walker in the Grixis Control Mirror. So
man. Good luck to the both of you.
Thank you. I'll need it more than he does, so you could just wish me luck and not him. But,
oh yeah.
It's just throwing it out there. But thanks for watching, and hopefully stay tuned for that match as well.